Hello everyone, welcome back to Movie Monday. Today we are going to talk about all the films I watched in August. Let's begin. I started this month by watching the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things. I had never watched it before because before I couldn't get into it, but this time I could. And I kind of see what the hype was about. I love a retro feeling show in general, but this one wasn't in my face about it. They focus on the character development of multiple people. Also, I really appreciate all the D&D references because now that I've played before, I really understand them. And it makes the show it feels like there's an inside joke between you and the characters. And I really enjoy that. It wasn't the best show I've ever seen, but it was enjoyable. The next movie that I watched was called Headcount. It's on Netflix. This movie is about a group of college kids who go on a trip to Joshua Tree in California, and they end up summoning a demon that can shapeshift. So the demon can shapeshift into anything it wants, and it ends up taking on the personas and bodies of the certain college students. I found the concept of the film very interesting, and for a low-budget indie film, I very much enjoyed it once it was over. The only thing is it felt very slow to me, and I was on my phone, not very interested in what was happening on the screen, pretty much until the last 20 minutes when the demon showed itself and you could kind of see what was going on and they were getting towards the end. One thing I really liked about this film was how they used different effects for when the monster was there, so you would kind of understand the confusion that the college students felt. Like, you would feel confused when there was 2 of the same people in the same place. And I think they used the tactic very well to make you feel just as confused as the college students did. So I really liked that. The only thing I really didn't like is how they depicted the college students. Like, I know college students go to parties and they drink a lot and some of them smoke and things like that, but in this movie, it just felt like they thought that's the only thing college students like to do was to drink and smoke constantly. And, I mean, most of us have lives outside of that, and so I couldn't really, even though I'm a college student, I couldn't really connect with that part of them. A, because I'm not a huge party person, but B, it just made it look like that was the only thing that these students wanted to do. Overall, I probably wouldn't watch this film again just because now that I've seen it, like, I know what happens. It's not something that I would want to go back to, but it wasn't bad by any means. The same night that I watched Headcount, I watched Sinister, which is about a true crime writer who moves into the house where his last case took place that he's investigating, and he finds a box of really creepy and gruesome home films that depict murders of the supposed killer of this case. So the writer, the main character, whatever you want to call him, he slowly begins to kind of lose his mind and lose his grip on sanity the closer he gets to discovering the true meaning of this case. And I just thought this movie was really well done. I really enjoyed it. This movie was just so scary. Not in the fact of like jump scares or any of that, but the fact that it could truly happen. And I felt on edge the entire time waiting for something to happen, which is good. It was a good, it kept me entertained. It kept me waiting for the next scene. It was a good kind of anticipation, and I really enjoyed it. This is the kind of horror that I like, and Sinister definitely did not disappoint. I do not love when a horror movie just relies on jump scares and that's their main source of scaring for the audience. It doesn't hold up. It doesn't leave me thinking about it afterwards, but a movie that truly delves into the psychological kind of horror and how things could actually happen in real life, That stuff scares me. So I really enjoyed Sinister. Then I tried to watch the MTV Scream series, but I only got about 4 episodes in before I quit. This series tried so hard to be hip and relatable that it came off as the opposite, basically. I was not invested in any of the characters, and I did not care at all when they died, and I gave it a fair shot, guys. Like, I went 4 episodes and I didn't just quit after the first one. But I actually was happy and cheered a little bit when Bella Thorne's character died. I just didn't feel connected to her at all, and I didn't really care about her. I don't know if that's what the show is going for, but I don't think it is, so I just didn't find it as enjoyable as I could have. I think it's sad because I like the original Scream movie so much, and I thought that the story for the time was really original, and so this one just felt kind of dull in comparison. Alright, so I watched The Lorax twice this month. This movie literally just makes me feel so happy, and I love every single line in it. It has such a wonderful message wrapped in simplistic storytelling that gets the point across. I mean, what more could you want in a movie? It's funny, it tells a great story, it has my favorite quote at the end, and overall, just The Lorax is so delightful for me. And I remember this month I was so stressed out about classes. I literally just sat down and watched this movie, and it helped me feel so much better. So it's kind of like a comfort movie for me in that way. So back on the horror trend, because apparently that's what I wanted to watch in the month of August, I watched a movie called Session 9, which, quite frankly, I found pretty boring. I was waiting the whole time for something scary to happen, but not like the feeling that I talked about in Sinister, but more just not in a good way. It had me feeling that I needed something interesting to get me off my phone and get me into the story. And honestly, the scariest thing in this movie was this chair that had no significance to the story whatsoever. It was just there and creepy. So they filmed it. That's really all I have to say about Session 9. The story, it made sense to me at the end, but the entire time I was not present in the story at all. I did not care. Like, the characters had some merit to me, but they didn't really explain like any of their backgrounds. I didn't really get to know anybody except for the fact that one of the main characters, Gordon, had hit his wife and he felt really bad about it. But that's about all I got to know from the characters. And so once they started dying, I was like, oh, shucks. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really feel there. So I probably wouldn't watch Session 9 again. Then I watched Glow Up Season 2 in one day. I really liked this show because it gave me an appreciation for makeup that I didn't know I had. I mean, I know people can do makeup, and I know it's harder than it looks for sure. They showed outrageously complex and detailed makeup looks that really got my attention in a way and made me realize how much makeup is a form of art and expression. So that was really cool to realize and to see these people who are so passionate about makeup just really battle it out basically and try their hardest and do the best that they could. I really enjoyed that. And in the end, I was happy with who won. I agreed with the decision, which doesn't happen very often, but in this one it did, and I was really happy about it. And I really can't say anything else because it's reality TV, so there isn't much to critique about it. Next, I watched the movie Booksmart, and I'm just going to say this right now. I did not love this movie. The premise of it was good. It was something that I felt I could relate to because it's two high school students who had focused so much on grades and getting into good schools that they didn't make time to party and be social and things like that. So before they graduate, they want to make up for that lost time, and they want to go to a party and kind of have this like all out crazy night. And I just felt like this movie tried way too hard to be a comedy. Like, it tried so hard on its jokes, and it felt a little forced to me. I don't know if it's just because I'm really selective when it comes to comedy or what the deal was, but honestly, I didn't find very much of it funny. I didn't laugh very often except at this scene.
This song goes out to my cast. I want you to know.
Overall, I was just underwhelmed with how the whole thing was, and I wish they had spent more time at the actual party. And I think if the film would have focused less on the two girls getting to the party, they were only at the actual party for probably like 10-15 minutes of the film, which is what the whole premise was about. So I understand that you were trying to get to know these girls, but I just wish that they had actually spent more time at the party that they said they were going to. Next, I watched a series of unfortunate events, the movie version, not the TV show version that Netflix did. This was the first time I'd seen this movie in years. Like, I used to watch it so much as a kid. I would watch it all the time. It was one of those movies we kept in the car, and we would put in to the car DVD players whenever we had like a longer trip. And so I would watch that all the time when we were going places. And honestly, I forgot how much I love this film. Jim Carrey is hilarious, I mean, as always. And I feel so bad for the children and how no one will listen to them just because they're kids. Like, the adults just don't care about them, and it just makes me really sad. I love the use of foreshadowing, especially at Aunt Josephine's house, and how everything is connected somehow, and the kids have to kind of solve this mystery of who their parents were before they died. No spoilers. And I've heard that the Netflix series that they did was much more in-depth than the movie was, especially at the end, like with the parents leaving them this letter that never came and kind of explaining the whole spyglass secret society kind of club that they were in, which I agree in the movie it was not very well explained. It was just more about getting the kids from home to home and kind of defeating this Count Olaf character. So I can see how that could definitely be expanded on, and with a show where you have so much more time than you do in a movie, I think that I might want to watch that show. So maybe that will be in my September video, so stay tuned for that. But overall, I just love everything about this movie. And as a side note, hello, Jude Law. He plays Lemony Snicket, and even though it's literally just his silhouette, I'm like, oh, okay, hello. That is everything that I watched in August. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and sticking with me. I know it was kind of a different format, and I wasn't really in the video, but I hope you guys still enjoyed it. And if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have not already, please subscribe down below. I've been working really hard on this channel, and honestly, I'm really proud of it. So if you want to stick around, that would mean a lot to me. And I will see you guys in Thursday's video. Bye.